Hello and welcome to this getting started video with Kairos. Today I'm going to show you how to install Kairos in its easiest and fastest way. For this we're going to need a virtual machine manager like VirtualBox, for example. Kairos can be installed in different kinds of hardware, but it's easier for demoing to do it in a virtual machine, and then you will also find it easier to also play with it and discard whatever installations before you are ready to move into hardware. And you're also going to need a Kairos ISO image to do like a live CD to do the installation. So let's first get this. I use Virtual Machine Manager because I'm on Linux and I find it the easiest, but like I said, you can use VirtualBox or any other tool that you prefer. And in order to download the ISO, we can go to the kairos.io website, where if you just go a little bit further down, you can see the downloads. I'm going to take Ubuntu x86 version, which I've already previously downloaded. It's about 1.5 gigs, but you will see that we have many other different flavors that you can choose from. And the first thing that we're going to do is create a new VM. So I'm going to use an ISO image. I'm going to browse here. Here is where I have saved mine. You can see that our artifact starts with Kairos. That's a convention that we have. Then we follow with the flavor of the image, which is Ubuntu in this case, of the distribution. Then we have the flavor release 2404. Standard means that it includes K3S and also HBPN. And it's for the AMD 64 architecture. It's generic, which is just a way to say that it's not focused at a specific board like Raspberry Pi 4. The version of Kairos, in this case 3.1.1, and the version of K3S, finalized by the extension, in this case of the ISO, which is exactly what we want. Now, a type of operating system that we want is Ubuntu 2404. We go forward, 4 gigabytes, 2 CPUs, that's good. We need about 35 gigs for this to run properly. And then we're gonna call it getting started Kairos. Now I'm going to customize the image before starting. This is because I would like to add another hardware. I want to have a TPM chip just because this makes the installation a little bit faster, and also it will give me the ability to have encryption even if we're not going to encrypt anything at the moment. And now I can begin the installation. As you can see, it immediately spins up and boots into the bootloader menu where I can select Kairos, Kairos manual. I'm going to go with the interactive install just because it's the fastest one that we can get our hands dirty. The machine is moving forward. We can already see in this section ImuCore. ImuCore is one component of Kairos. You don't need to know in detail, but is at the Dracut level, it is making choices so that we can have them very early on when the system is spinning up. Then, as you can see, you're welcomed by this Kairos flag, and then it already detected that we have a device that is 35 gigabytes, like we said, and it suggests if we want to install there. Yes, with an enter. The user that we're going to have on the system is always Kairos. You have to have the Kairos user. So in this case, we keep it to Kairos. You can add more users, but you have to have at least the Kairos user. For password, I'm going to put Kairos, but you can put your own, of course. Then it's optional if you want to have SSH keys copied from your a public Git repository like GitHub. In my case, I'm going to use the ones for my user. And then it asks me if I want the HPPN mesh support. In this case, I will not go with it because we're going to do the most simple installation. But I do want to have K3S. So I say yes here. Our settings okay. I have to say yes. Enter. And you could see before that we had a bit of a cloud config configuration, cloud init configuration, which is generated for us automatically. And we can also look at it afterwards once the installation is ready. Then it creates an active image, as you can see here. You can always go pause in this video to see what I am sharing. It afterwards creates a passive image. All of this we will see in the next step. But now I can simply restart the VM, reboot the VM, sorry. And this will take a little bit since it needs to shut down all the different services gracefully. But like I was saying, you get an active image, you get passive image, and you get a recovery image. Now that it restarted, it already restarted on the, it already booted from our hard disk, not from the live CD anymore. And here I have the option to start the active image, which is the first one, just Kairos. If I would not have stopped it, it would have just gone through that one. You also have the option called fallback. This is also what I refer to when I say passive. The recovery, which is used in case you need to do some special debugging for the other two images. Remote recovery and state reset. We don't need to talk in detail into any of this. For now, let's just jump into the Kairos active image. The system is starting now. We also saw again EmuCore at the early stages of the system. There will be some warnings there, but you don't have to worry. It's just the system figures out what is there, what is not there, but it doesn't mean that there is a breakage. And finally, we get a prompt to pass our user, in our case, Kairos, and password Kairos. And you can see that I'm already logged in. I already have a system working. It's done. Now, let me just add a little bit of something. As I showed you, I can log in using my SSH keys. So let's see the details of this image. Let's see the details of this image. I can see here, this is the IP address. So I'm going to use this one to SSH in with Kairos at this IP. And you see that I'm logged in without having to pass the password. That is because it already copied my SSH keys. If I do sudo -i, I can also check K9S, which comes installed, which will show my cluster. I actually need to tell it how to configure it. The configuration will be in etc rancher K3S, the YAML. We can then export this as our kube config, and we call K9S again. Namespace. We can see all here, and we can see that our little cluster is already set up and running. Hooray! Now for the last thing that I want to show you, we will have a look at the configuration that was generated. For that, it's under the /om directory the file is called 90_custom, and you can see that this is the installation, the exact installation that we did. install device dev VDA, K3 is enabled true, and the name is config generated by the installer. Here in the stages, it says that as soon as we have network, it wants to create users, the user Kairos, within the group admin, the name of the user is Kairos, the password is Kairos, and the SSH authorized keys should come from the GitHub user Mauro Morales. And that's what I have for you today. I hope you enjoy, have fun.